Welcome back, YouTube. So today we've hit 10,000 kilometers on the 24 S650 Mustang. So I wanted to give my thoughts on whether this is a vehicle that you should purchase. So let's talk about the things I love and the things I don't. Let's start with the things I love. This hands down has been the best vehicle I have ever owned. Not just from a performance aspect, but also due to the fact that I just love the way this vehicle looks. Honestly, in the beginning, the S650, it had to grow on me for me to actually like the vehicle itself. One thing that I absolutely love is this yellow splash metallic. It looks so good in the sun, has tons of flake in it. It's great. Now, mods. If you're new to the channel, we've done an MGW short shifter. We have also done a Roush H-pipe, white line sway bars, and BMR diff bushing. Other than that, the car is virtually stock. I've added some paint match trim down below, designer trim, code SLOW50, done some carbon in the interior. Absolutely like the way it sits right now. We're gonna do some wheels shortly. Got a cool announcement coming soon for that. So how does the vehicle drive? So I had a S650 2022 10 speed. This vehicle is definitely quicker stock for stock. There's no denying that. This is a manual transmission, but this car just has a lot more top end in my opinion, and the torque band seems to be a bit larger. You can feel that torque, especially in the mid-range, a lot more than the S650. Now, my S650 was full bolt-on. It had catless headers, exhaust. It was tuned on 93. I also had it on E85 at a few points. And that was a 10-speed, super fast car. Would it have beaten this in a race? Most likely. But it feels to be just as quick as that S650, the S650 that is. Another thing that I absolutely love about this vehicle is the interior is a step up. I know a lot of people complain about the fact that it's just two tablets stuck on the dashboard, but once you use it on a day-to-day basis, it is really nice. It's very visible, it's very clear, it's very bright. There's so much customization you can do with this vehicle, especially from the infotainment point of view. The sound system is fantastic. The Bang & Olufsen goes very loud while not getting too tinny sounding and a bit muffled. It sounds really good. It has good mid-range, and I'm very happy with the sound system. I probably won't tweak it ever. Secondly, one thing I do miss that the S650 had and Mustangs have had throughout the years is the double haunches in the interior. That is a really nice look, and it was very obvious that it was a Mustang. That is gone for the 24 model year, but at the same time, this is still a decent setup as well. Do I wish that they integrated the screen into the dash a bit more and had those double haunches? Absolutely. But Ford, if you're listening, next generation Mustang, you can do something like that. Another thing that I really do like about the vehicle is the sound. It's hard to tell on video, but it is very different than the S650. It's a lot deeper. And with the S650, if you threw an X-pipe on the car, you would get more power. But if you threw an H-pipe, you would actually not get as much power as the X-pipe. For the S650s, it's completely different. You throw on the H-pipe, you actually gain significantly more power than putting on an X-pipe. This, I don't know what Ford did with the exhaust system, but it has a deeper note. It barks in the high RPM, but there's no rasp, which I'm very happy about. Me personally, I cannot stand rasp. Another thing that is really nice about this specific vehicle, I optioned it with the Recaro seats. Are they must-have? I would say yes. If you value heated and cooled seats, then yes, get the premium seats, the leather ones. But when it comes to adding theater to your driving experience and making it more of an occasion, the Recaros really do hold you in, and they add a whole new center of sportiness to the vehicle. Another thing that I have on this one that I didn't have on my previous gen Mustang was Magna Ride. Absolute game changer. I couldn't fathom actually having another Mustang without Magna Ride. And let me tell you why. When you put it in track mode, the suspension is significantly tighter. You can feel it immediately on turn in. And when you're pushing this car maybe 7/8 tenths, it's just so much more predictable and stable. Then if you want to just chill, go for a drive with the wife, you put it in normal mode, and the suspension is so compliant. It's soft. This drives so well. In normal mode, you almost kind of forget that it is a 500 horsepower manual V8 muscle car. And another thing that is very, very good about it is it has that Jekyll and Hyde personality. It really transforms when you change driving modes compared to normal. Now, fuel efficiency, this thing is an absolute pig on fuel, but I'm also extremely lead-footed. So don't buy this kind of car if you're looking for any kind of good miles per gallon, because you will not get it. Another thing that I really like about this vehicle is the more and more I drive it, honestly, the better it gets. I don't know if that's because the engine is now fully broken in. It's such a good Mustang. In the S650, the steering feel itself may not have been virtually as improved. I noticed a difference, but it's still kind of numb. That's what happens when you have an electronic rack. But the handling characteristics of the car are night and day to the S550. Don't let anyone tell you differently. This car handles significantly better than the S550, even right out the box. I recommend doing sway bars on the vehicle just because it eliminates all that body roll. And if you really want to take it up a notch, you do the sway bars, you do some lowering springs, and honestly, I'd leave it at that. The car would still be very livable, and you will get a lot sharper handling without adding too much NVH or any vibrations, that stuff you don't want to deal with. So what are my plans for aesthetics of this vehicle? I have some really cool wheels coming in. I'm doing some Nitto drag radials. We got some exhaust work coming in. There's a lot of stuff you guys do not want to miss that's going down on the channel. I plan on getting RTR vents through here. I saw this really cool LED grille. It's not the RTR one. Kind of adds just 2 lines here. More simple, minimal, but also improves the airflow. I'm very curious to see what this vehicle will make with the new ESS kits coming out. And that will be really cool. Honestly, the sounds, the power, it'll definitely be a better vehicle. Another thing that I absolutely really enjoy about this car is just the fact that everything is very intuitively placed. I usually complain when there's no climate control buttons, but the climate is right on the screen, always accessible. And the vehicle, all your touch points are absolutely wonderful. The steering wheel on the 401 Premium is gorgeous. You have the perforated leather as well as the smooth leather on the outsides. The shifter is beautiful. The MT82 has definitely been improved from the previous gen, but when you put that MGW shifter, it adds a whole new character to how your Mustang drives. So would I recommend you get an S650? Absolutely. Do I see myself selling this car in the near years? Honestly, I could see myself keeping this one for a while and maybe adding another Mustang down the line. There's something sentimental about this vehicle to me. I've always loved yellow Mustangs ever since I was a kid. And the fact that I was able to facilitate me getting one I'm very grateful for that. And I really enjoy Mustangs. Definitely, if you can swing an S650, do it. I think the best route to go about is if you get a base model, and I would say get a base model performance pack, because yes, you can add a lot of that stuff aftermarket, but it's a lot easier when it just comes from the factory with it. Then you can save your money toward getting boost or wheels, tires of that caliber, even exhaust work. But even out the box, is a very fast car. You really don't need much more power for the street. I'm just an acceleration nut, so I just want to boost it. But from an everyday perspective, this has more than enough power to get you into trouble. Not only that, is the power right now, I would say that it's relatively usable. I mean, these gears are quite large in a sense that third gear goes really high on the speedo, but there's a lot of power that you can use on the street before you're getting into crazy speeds. So keep that in mind if you're ever thinking about boosting your car, is if you are boosting it, most of that power you'll never actually use, besides the occasional acceleration here and there in Mexico. But definitely get an S650 if you can swing one. If you have an S550 and you're looking for a vehicle that takes the success of the S550 and just ups it up a sweet spot a little bit more, then I would definitely recommend this vehicle. It is awesome. So let's talk about some things that I don't necessarily like about the S650 Mustang. Number one being the price point. But Jordan, you still got one. Well, I do love the Mustang, and I'll be a diehard fan for the rest of my life. So I can always see myself trying to get Mustangs, but the price over the years has gotten crazy. I still remember back when I was in high school, a Mustang could be had for anywhere between 30 to 45,000 Canadian. And the fact that that has raised all the way up to anywhere between 60,000 to, I've seen some up to close to 80, is just unbelievable. And it's putting this car in a unattainable bracket for a lot of people. Do I wish Ford could change this? Absolutely. Another thing is, if they are going to have such a price hike like that, yeah, I love the new interior. It's fantastic. There's a lot of things that make it a lot more premium than the previous generation. But I wish some of the things in the interior itself actually were improved. For example, there's fake carbon on the doors and throughout the dash. It would have been really cool if they actually put some real carbon there. I'm not saying to deck the whole interior out in carbon fiber. I know they got to leave something to spice up the higher models, but even the Dark Horse has that same kind of carbon. If only they could have put some real carbon there. Also, another thing is, specifically in like this car, the 401A premium pack, there's accent stitching. Mine is gray itself. And I know if you have red accent, I feel like it's red interior, I think, or some kind of red accent, you get the red stitch. But how come if people had grabber blue or yellow like myself, they couldn't have made a yellow stitch? It's the little things. On top of that, there's a lot of plastic in the interior that they could have replaced with some kind of leather, I think. But I understand they're trying to still keep that muscle car feel. But at the same time, I do think that those things could have been improved upon. Another few things that I'm not particularly a fan of is the fact that this car doesn't actually come with 900 horsepower from the factory. Jokes aside, honestly, there's not too much more I can say about it. I wish I had yellow seatbelts, but these are all petty things that don't actually contribute to the overall driving characteristics of the Mustang. And that just shows you how Ford, in my opinion, hit this one out of the ballpark. There's a lot of people who think, oh, the S650 is a dud, or a lot of parameters around the lines that it doesn't meet the S550 performance threshold. Tuning just came out, so I do believe you're going to be seeing some great numbers with the S650. I think that the S650 is honestly what the S550.2 should have been. I think that it would have been really cool if it was just marketed as a different kind of facelift. I know they called it a full redesign. I wouldn't call it a full redesign. The bumpers, yeah, there's a lot of things that are different, but it's really just building on the success of the S550. And so far, what we've been seeing with tunings is these things do respond well. Ford has definitely come close to maxing out the NA potential for this car, although I do believe there's still remnants, meat on the bone that can be gotten with tuning. And I'm going to push that threshold before I go boost. I plan on getting some, ideally, Cook's catless headers. Don't let anyone tell you, catless does make more power. And exhaust on the vehicle, well, an axle back. I have the Roush H-pipe, as you guys know. I didn't really feel like getting a full catback system just due to the fact that I would have to sell my Roush H-pipe, and that was just for nothing, and I'll never get that money back. So I figured, let's find a system that is an axle back that's 2.5 like the H-pipe, and I can slap that on. So that's Borla S-types. Super excited to hear how that sounds. And then one of my big concerns is rasp. So if a lot of you guys are getting headers, I definitely recommend, if you're going that catless route, to get the Vibrants. We'll be putting 2 massive Vibrant resonators right in the H-pipe section. I talk about that in a few other videos in the past. That will definitely negate the rasp. Now, intakes, I don't believe that you're going to get your 100% dollars worth horsepower-wise. The only intake that I seem to be interested in, will I do it? Probably not, because that piping will be changed when I get the ESS. But the Whipple crusher system seems to be pretty promising, especially with Whipple's calibration. I was talking to them on email, and so far, the gains seem like they definitely be noticeable. Not only that, you get more induction noise, and also the engine bay itself will look cooler, in my opinion. Which, if you're rocking an NA setup and you're trying to go max effort NA, definitely get the intakes, definitely get the headers, definitely get the exhaust, and yeah, get it tuned on 93, 85, and this thing should be legitimately pretty quick, especially if you got a 10-speed. Now, all my 10-speed people, definitely get the tune because the transmission logic, it's a must. Sorry, I got off topic. We were talking about things I don't like about this car. So the things that there's one other thing that I would change. One other thing, super petty. But with the S550, there were LED cup holders. I don't know why Ford got rid of that. Honestly, it was such a cool addition and it added some spice to the interior. I wish that they kept it. There's no excuse for that. They're charging more money for the S650 and they take those features away. Now, with the changes coming in, I believe, 2026, they're actually taking away the illuminated door sills. They're taking away a lot of stuff that was originally standard. So I think if you're in the market for a Mustang, try to find a 24 or 25 because that's just that's just a small amount of things that are actually being taken away and are no longer standard. So definitely try to get a 24 or 25 while you can. And as I said, try to find a base model with a performance pack. That would be ideal. And yeah, so that's some things that I absolutely love. The pros far outweigh the cons. For the S650, it is an upgrade and it's definitely an improvement over the S550. Is it completely game-changing like how the S197 was to the S550? No, but it's still a great update nonetheless. I honestly believe that Mustangs are at its peak right now in regards to performance and handling characteristics. Who would have thought back in 2013 with the solid live axle that you would be able to carve corners with the IRS in this car the way that you do? No one would have thought that. All these videos you see of Mustangs crashing, not anymore with these. And specifically, get MagnaRide because MagnaRide helps put the power down so well. You barely struggle for traction, and when you lose traction, you can easily get it back. It's very predictable. And I can't wait to put more kilometers on it and drive it out, really push it to its limits. So that's my update on 10,000 kilometers of the S650. And stay tuned as we continue to thrash on the car, get some great content, and slow 5.0 to the moon, 1,000 subs coming up. Take care and have a great evening.